Well, hello there people from the internet, we're back with some Battlefront and today we're playing some Supremacy. Now I get asked quite a lot of times, what's the fastest way to rank up, how can I get rid of this white skin? Because let's face it, on a lot of the maps, this white one, it's pretty much standing out there and you think, how can I get rid of it, get to that level 50 where I can get a Dark Trooper and have a little bit of cover myself, especially when it comes down to Endor and even on the Central Plex, you're still a white sort of character bobbing around on a black background, and on the Endor map it's just green and they just have the better camos and the better sort of skins. So how can you get there a little bit quicker? I find that for me personally this works better. Supremacy is one of the quickest way I've leveled up. I already made it to level about 48, 49 or something like that, so I'm nearly level 50. And I just wanted to get the Dark Trooper just because it gives you a sort of slight advantage over everybody else, especially when it comes down to darker maps. I mean, on this one it doesn't really make that much of a difference, but when it comes, like I said, to Endor and the Central Plex, it will make a big difference over there, especially with the rebels having just better skins than what you have. So in this one I end up usually spending anywhere 5 to 10 minutes a match, and I always end up getting between sort of 6 to 10,000 points depending on how you do that particular round. You always end up getting decent amount of points for the amount of time that you're going to spend it. Now you might hear Evil talking in the background a little bit, just ignore him. He's trying to get into the game. I think he's in the game, but he's trying to get into we're still sort of figuring out this partner thing. But I think we're getting the hang of it. Now, as I mentioned in the previous video, I'm going to talk a little bit about weapons and what weapons are better, what weapons should you be using. I found that most of the weapons that I tend to use is some of the old weapons that we saw in the beta. I tend to use the A280C, I tend to use that a lot, I tend to use the E11 a lot, and that's most of the weapons, and the DL44 pistol. These three weapons is most of the weapons that I use, I would say, at 90% of the times. Unless I am playing Outpost Beta, which is a bigger open map, then you need something to deal with the ATs because there's always two ATs around. Plus you have the walkers. You're going to need a couple of things to deal with the ATs, so I might change it up from time to time when it gets to that map. But most of the times I stick with those three weapons. But I do tend to find myself using the E11 just a little bit more rather than using anything else. I'd use a pistol. I'd use a pistol on the small close quarter maps, where everything's sort of going on in tunnels and everything's underground and all that sort of stuff. You do need something that does a little bit more damage, and you can also use that little shotgun that they have, the shock blaster or whatever it's called, but I tend to use the DL44 just a little bit more when it comes down to sort of going indoors. As for the cards that I use, I always use the same cards. I use them in the beta, apart from the barrage, which we don't have in the beta, but we have them now. It's going to be pretty simple what I'm going to use, and you should be using that, because if you get good with it and you know how to use it and when to use it. I mean, Evil all the time, he forgets to use his shield and he ends up dying thinking, well, why didn't I press that button? You just forget. It just has to be in muscle memory. You just have to remember to get it, or press it before you do something else, and you should be good to go. So as for the cards that you should be using, personally I would recommend you should use a jump pack, the personal shield, and barrage. That's something that I used over and over again. It's very effective. It will definitely help you out a lot, and you'll get you out of some tight spots. And as for your trait, I think you should be using maybe the grenade perk, maybe survivalist. That's completely up to you again. I personally like to use them sort of both. From time to time I just switch them up a little bit just to see if I sort of do slightly better with one or the other. But you need something to protect you against the grenade spam, and most of the times that I end up dying, it has to be grenades. As soon as you go and you meet up somebody and you start shooting him a couple of times and he can clearly see that he's going to lose that fight or he's missing you, boom, grenade. You know, either an impact grenade or just throw the thermal grenade down just so you can get a kill while he's dead, if that makes any sense. So that's definitely something that you should be maybe using, because it's going to help you so many times. At least it's not a one-hit kill anymore. You know, every time you get thrown a grenade in your face, usually you end up dying even if you're on full health. But if you have the grenade perk, the bodyguard, and the survivalist, those are the things that you can't really do without. You need the survivalist because he's going to kick off that health regeneration just that much faster than everybody else is. Plus you can boost that up quite a little bit and it's going to start really fast for you. And since the maps are not huge, there's always going to be some sort of damage being given to you. Even if you walk into an open space, if people are shooting randomly towards you, you're still going to get hit at least once or twice. So you want the regeneration to kick in just that little bit faster. And as I mentioned earlier on, the bodyguard is something that you do need a lot, because it's just too much grenade spam. There's so much grenade spam going on. There's just way too much, and you just need something to protect you against grenades. And that's one of the best things to do, because you're going to get in those situations where you're in the tunnels. You're going to get in situations where you're kind of trapped behind some of your teammates and they're rushing in, and you're going to be blocked and you can't get away just in time. You might see that grenade coming, you're trying to get away. And if you've managed to just evade it just that little bit, it will help a lot by you not dying. So you shouldn't be dying to grenades that much anymore. Also, remember to upgrade your cards, because you can upgrade your cards. All you have to do is click it, pay 7,000 for it, and it will boost your cooldown a little bit. So instead of 20 seconds, it might be 15, it might be 10 or whatever. So most of the perks that you use, remember to do that. Pay the money, upgrade them, and therefore they're going to be a lot more useful to you, because you can use them more often. There's a giveaway happening in this video. Go ahead and give it a thumbs up and post a comment if you want to win a copy of the game, and I'll just choose somebody randomly from the comments in a couple of days. That's it from this one. Hopefully that loadout and some of them weapons will help you on the Battlefront. That's it for me for today. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.